2 small family cars.
One mission,
To help you choose which one's worth your hard-earned money.
The Kia EV3 is the best-selling electric retail car in the UK right now, and after spending some time with it, it's easy to see why. It's compact enough to be a good city runaround, it's rangy enough to be a motorway machine, and it's spacious enough to be a good family car option. Now, Kia has been competing with brands at a much higher end price point than the 35k that the Kia Air sits at. But with this model, you get a lot of the performance, luxury, tech and design that Kia have been pumping into their higher end models, but at this more attainable price point. Now, I think it has that blend of practicality, performance and value for money that is just so hard to find in an EV. So why choose anything else right now? I'm sure Ailish is going to have something to say about that.
The EV3 is a fantastic car. I think the EX30 from Volvo is well worth a look in. This is the smallest electric car on offer from Volvo, but it packs a lot in. We all know that Volvos are built on safety. That really is at the core of their messaging and ethos of building their cars. And in fact, that is a really important factor when it comes to family cars, but that does not make them boring. In fact, the EX30 dual motor, the toppest range version available, has Ferrari force acceleration. Volvo has really had a glow up in the last few years whilst retaining its Scandi design principles, and the EX30 is recognised now as one of Europe's best-selling electric cars thanks to its decent range, high-tech interior and all for a competitive price. So the EX30, which I have with me today that we're going to be taking a look at, is the Plus extended range version. So this comes with the biggest battery option available, which means max range, and also sits slap bang in the middle of the 3 specs that you're able to choose from.
We've got 5 family-oriented categories: space/storage, comfort, range/charging, tech, and of course, most importantly, price.
That's right, but before we get into things, firstly, let me tell you about a brand that can help you make money with your own home charger, because our sponsor for today, JuiceUp, can help you do exactly that.
JuiceUp is an EV charger sharing app that allows you to list your charge point and take bookings at days and times you set when it normally sits unused. They take 0 commission, so you can list your charger at prices comparatively lower than public charge points while still making a good profit. JuiceUp is on a mission to provide affordable, convenient and reliable EV charging nationwide. And by using our promo code Electroheads, you can enjoy 180 days free use. So give JuiceUp a try today and see how much you could earn. Visit juiceup.com for more info or go to the Google Play or App Stores to download the app now.
Okay, so let me tee up our first category, space and storage. And to be honest, I'm not just saying this, I think the Kia has the slight edge over the Volvo on this one. It's 4.3 meters long, which is slightly longer than the Volvo, so it's got a bit more space, but it makes a really good use of that space as well. So let's take a closer look.
The Kia EV3's 460-litre boot is impressively large for a car of this size. It somehow packs 100 litres more boot storage than the similarly sized EX30. This is partly down to its big, bulbous butt, which is a quirky design feature. The recessed floor allows even more storage space, but the bed can also be raised up for easier access. This is a fairly common feature on electric cars because the recess is ostensibly where you would store your charging cables. But the EV3 also has a 25-litre front cubbyhole that can just about fit your charging paraphernalia, making that big old boot all the more useful. As a passenger, there's ample headroom and legroom in the back. I'm 6 foot and I have plenty of space for my knees and my massive head in the back passenger seats. There's also charging ports back here and a cup holder. Decent. Up front, the centre console storage is fine. There are certainly similar cars like the Ford Explorer that have a much more ample storage in the front, but Kia have sacrificed literage for utility. The tiered centre console gives you different places for storing your phone, keys, drinks, etc. whilst driving, which I actually quite like. Overall, I'm impressed. Not only is there lots of space, but there's good use of space.
Sure, the EV3 is a touch bigger than the EX30, but this is why we're here. We're talking about small family electric cars, and this definitely ticks the box. But Volvo have been really smart with their storage solutions. Let me tell you more.
Thanks to the EX30's bespoke architecture, there is more storage space than you'd expect, with all controls to the car being at the centre. And yes, even the controls to the windows, which takes a little getting used to. The rest of the interior is dedicated to maximising capacity. Thanks to the centralised soundbar, there's no speakers in the doors, which means, you guessed it, more storage space. There's lots more room in the centre console for snacks, phones, there's a pop-out cup holder, and even the glove box is in the centre. I will say in the back there's space for 2 adults. 3 adults would definitely be a shoulder-to-shoulder scenario. There's a tray down the side of the rear seats to catch crumbs or whatever comes out your pockets. There's no cup holders or armrests, but there is a removable storage bin that comes out from the centre console with a cute moose to greet you. It does feel a bit pokey back here, but an optional panoramic sunroof would definitely open up the space. Round to the boot, and the release button situated here is a great shout from Volvo. It's way less grubby than your usual access from underneath. Boot space is 400 litres with storage also under the boot floor for chargers, and it goes all the way up to 1,000 litres with all rows folded. Up top, you've also got the option of a roof rack that can take a max load of 75 kilograms, a tow bar, and even a bike holder for up to 4 bikes. Great for those adventurous getaways with the family.
Seats in here, the recycled upholstery, it's really nice, they're really comfortable. Feels like they're giving you a big hug. Big tick on the comfort of the seats, and it's not that kind of pleather material or vegan leather as some car manufacturers call it. I really like how comfy the seats are, and I've had good feedback as well from people that have sat in the passenger seat or in the back seats. What I would say is there's no adjustable lumbar support, and the seats are not electronic. They are heated, but they aren't electronic, so you have to adjust them manually. And I feel like for 35 grand, a bit of lumbar support and some electronic seats feel like they should be part of the package. But it's really serene in here. It's really quiet. They've done a good job on the acoustic proofing, and they've done a really good job just making it a really convenient and easy car to drive. So I'll talk about that more in the tech section. Right now the car is effectively driving itself, by the way. I'm just keeping an eye on things. But when I have been driving, I've been using the iPedal. You can adjust that to your taste. I've got it on full single pedal driving, which just makes things so easy. There's a lot you can do to customize this car. And then, you know, the fact that it's got 0 to 60 time of 7 seconds means that it's pretty quick. But the way that it's set up, the drive feel is for comfort. It's not too boaty or wafty. There's a little bit of sportiness in there when you want it, but comfort is the main name of the game. And it does that without sacrificing the feel of the drive, which I really enjoy. That suspension's beautiful on this. I've got no criticisms whatsoever. And I've been sitting in this car for about an hour and a half now, and I do still feel kind of just relaxed and comfortable. I've got no pain in my back or anything like that. So all in all, I think they've done a very good job. There's a little bit of room for improvement. Like I said, certain things that I would want that you don't necessarily have. But all the tech makes it really convenient, and I'll talk more about that in a later section. But for now, over to Ailish.
Comfort is such an important factor when it comes to buying a family car, and the EX30 checks that box. It's unbelievably comfortable. Okay, so let me take you through it. I had to drive to the Cotswolds and back in one day. It was about 7 hours of driving in total, which is a lot. I mean, particularly for me as well. 7 hours is a long time. Yes, I did have a break in between because I was at an event. However, 7 hours in a car can take its toll, but the EX30 really did make it as comfortable as it could be. I mean, first up, the seats are just great. I do get back pain, and these seats have just really smoothed out any kind of like pains and aches that you get along the way. When I was driving this car on the motorway, it handled really well. It had the right amount of acceleration. I mean, this isn't the top spec model EX30. If you get dual motor, you can get 3.6 second 0 to 62, which is, I mean, absolutely balmy. I personally don't need that. This has a nice amount of acceleration. It's a lot faster than a lot of ICEs. It was great on the motorway, but also doing city driving is great, particularly with that one pedal drive that you can get with this. I mean, it just makes it a complete doddle. You really don't need to be thinking about anything. It's just foot on the pedal, foot off the accelerator when you want to get a little bit of brake, and actually it gets you a little bit of range as well, which is awesome. Driving around the city in this car, and the range is, yeah, pretty unbelievable. It barely moves, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the range section, so stick around for that. Let's talk suspension as well. Super important. It's a very comfortable car. It irons out any bumps, potholes, anything that is basically gonna cause discomfort along the journey, but it's not that super squishy, like over bouncy feel, which I think can actually make you feel a bit nauseous, particularly if you're sat in the back of the car. Oh, how nice is that? The indicator has such a nice timbre to it, don't you think? The steering is nice and light, but it is still precise. It's not super baggy, so you do feel a little bit more connected with the car. It could be more connected, I would say. Now, one slight flaw which I could pick up on, and a lot of people have spoken about if you've seen other EX30 reviews, is the display is the only place that gives you information about the vehicle. So you don't have an instrument cluster here. So to know your speed, you need to put your eyes over to this central display. So some people do have a problem with that. I personally haven't had an issue with it. I swear down, like, it's not been a problem for me. I mean, it's just like driving a Tesla. It's the exact same thing. And how many Teslas have sold? So I personally don't find it an issue. I think something that can be a little bit annoying is if you need to go deep diving into the infotainment. The screen itself, it's large for what it is, but actually there's a lot that fits into this screen, so everything does feel a little bit precise that you need to touch, so it can get a little bit fiddly, and so therefore it can be a little bit of a distraction. So that is, in terms of comfort, that slightly brings you out of it.
Most of the time I'm using Apple CarPlay, so all I need really is my music, directions, and then jump into the climate control whenever I've got to switch things up, which is all simple enough to do. Speaking of music, the centralised soundbar performs pretty well and of course is very crucial for a family road trip. As you get up to the higher speeds, there is some tyre and wind noise, so I've had to turn up the music to cover that up, something that surround sound speakers might be able to dampen a bit more. It's comfortable to park with its small dimensions and 11-metre turning circle, and all the while you make your manoeuvres, you know you're sitting in a cabin full of recycled materials that not only looks good, but feels great.
When it comes to technology, the Kia EV3 packs a lot in. So let's take a closer look at the infotainment system.
Where so many car brands have gone for the Tesla-style iPad screen, Kia have gone for a double widescreen, with two 12.3-inch screens, one as an infotainment system and the other as a driver's display. There's a smaller screen between them for climate control, but I have to say, it's a bit rubbish and pretty hard to see behind the steering wheel, and given the climate control has physical buttons on the dash, there's not really much need for this. And while we're here, let's just say a hooray for these physical buttons, which are super easy to use whilst driving. But the software in Kia's cars works impeccably, and I'm impressed by how easy it is to find and change settings, which is quite important in this car because there are quite a few annoying warning alerts that are overly sensitive and you'll want to just switch them off. There are a good number of controls on the steering wheel, including your single pedal driving and regen settings, as well as music settings and cruise control and lane assist and lane follow. There's Apple and Android CarPlay, of course, as you'd expect.
Alongside the infotainment system, we also have a lot of safety features, and safety is going to be somewhere that will be hard to beat any Volvo, but the Kia does a decent job. So we've got a forward collision avoidance system like we have in many cars, but this one is really good. It identifies pedestrians, cyclists, cars, and it kind of treats them all separately. There's rear collision avoidance as well, so if you're reversing, it will help you with that. You've got remote park assist, which is really useful. There's the highway driving assistant 2, which is an upgraded version of the previous one. Pretty much all you have to do is just keep your hands on the steering wheel and the car's going to do most of the work for you. If you don't want to go quite that far, then you can have lane assist, but you can also have lane follow, where the car will follow the lane that you're on. That will work in a single lane or a dual carriageway. And if you use the navigation cruise control, so basically a cruise control that follows the navigation and kind of does the work for you on acceleration and deceleration, then again, it's doing a lot of the work in the actual driving for you. So a lot of really impressive features, even a snow mode as well. Like if it's snowing, it has a particular mode for driving in snow. It's got an attention warning as well, so if it detects that you're yawning a lot or closing your eyes a lot, it will alert you and try and wake you up. So I would say Kia are one of the leading brands when it comes to safety right now, but I'm pretty sure the Volvo has a lot to say for itself as well, so let's find out.
When it comes to tech with the EX30, I have to begin with the exterior because there is some great points to talk about. First off, we've got the high visibility LED lamps at the front here, but round the back, there's also the brake light, which goes all the way up to the rear view window, which means more visibility, which is what we want to see with a family car. Now, what about entering the vehicle? Well, if you've got yourself a phone, if your family have a phone, you can enter the car with a digital key. So there's a certain number that you can link phones to the car, but you can do just that. And then into the interior, and I have to say it's gorgeously minimalist, but full of character. Now, all of the tech, all of the functions are situated right here in the center of the cabin.
In the 12.3-inch infotainment, you have everything you need. There's even an advanced air purification system that tells you how clean the air is in the cabin. You've got smart shortcuts and monitoring of vehicles in front of you with its active driving support features. The car can also tell you where you can charge along your journey, so no range anxiety. There's wireless charging plus charge ports in the front and back. There's a 12-volt in the boot to run a camping stove or air mattress pump. But of course, safety features are very important with a family car, and as you can see here, each spec comes with a lot of options. So if you go for the lower cost core, you still get great tech and advanced driver assist systems. Now, what the Plus doesn't have, the car that I have today, is 360 camera and 3D view. That's only the Ultra. Park Pilot Assist, which takes over the steering, braking, acceleration, and also does parallel parking. That's only the Ultra as well. And also low-speed auto braking, which essentially detects objects and pedestrians behind the car when you're reversing slowly and will brake for you if you need. Again, that is only the Ultra. But what I will say whilst driving around the city centre is sometimes the sensors have been a little bit too reactive, like this painful moment waiting in traffic as mopeds started to swarm me. It was quite headache-inducing.
Okay, so our third category is charging, a pretty important one for electric vehicles, really. And yes, I am wearing glasses now. I have changed t-shirt. It is a different day to day. That is a continuity error. Let's just move on. So this has a max 120 kilowatt charging rate, which will give it 100 miles of range in about 15 minutes, which is not too bad. This version, which has 375 miles of range, will charge up from 10 to 80% in about 45 minutes. It's not the fastest, but with 375 miles of range, you won't need to charge up again for a while after that. The lower range version, 275 miles, does that in 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes, but you'll need to be charging more regularly in that model. Downside of this car, no heat pump, so in winter you are going to lose a little bit of range optimization, temperature optimization, sorry, and might lose a little bit of range. But I have to say, in my experience so far of driving this car, the range readout in the car is incredibly accurate. Some cars lie to you a little bit and say you've got X range left and then it suddenly starts to fall off a cliff. This has been very accurate, and I've actually gained a little bit of range whilst driving through London. I've been driving for about an hour and a half through London, and my range has gone up by 1% somehow on the single pedal regen driving mode. So I'm fairly impressed by it so far. I wish we lived in a world where you could get a 375 mile range car for less than 20 grand, but as yet we don't live in that world. And I think for 35k, it's a pretty good option, and it's doing a good job. So I'd say 4 out of 5 from me for the Kia EV3.
The EX30 comes with 2 battery options. You have the smaller 51 kilowatt hour or the extended range version, which I have today, which can give you 69 kilowatt hours. But what does that mean for range? Well, the smaller battery can deliver up to around 209 miles WLTP, or the one that I have can do up to 296 miles. But when you're in the city, that number goes up to a whopping 368 miles of range, and that doesn't surprise me, to be honest, because when I've been driving this around the city, one pedal driving, obviously going max, generally 20 miles per hour, that percentage has barely moved. For the Core and the Plus spec options, you can get an 11 kilowatt charger, and then if you go up to the Ultra, you get 22 kilowatts. But what about efficiency? Because that's so important when it comes to realizing the real world range of an electric car, because numbers from manufacturer can be one thing, but this tells all, and the car is telling me that I have used about 25 kilowatt hours every 100 miles, which is pretty efficient.
Right, so let's talk about what potentially might be the most important aspect out of everything, which is price. Now, both of these cars come in a few different options. The Kia EV3 Air comes in either a 280 mile range option, which is about £32,000, or a 375 mile range version, which is 35 grand. And I think that's really good value for money in this sector.
So with the EX30, you get 3 options of spec. So you have the Core, the Plus, which I have today, and the Ultra. Now, you get single and dual motor options depending on what you'd like to go for. Now, the Core pricing starts at around £33,000. Now, the Plus behind me, this will cost you an extra couple of grand, but then if you want the extended range put on top of that, which I have today, that's another nearly £5,000. So this car behind me is gonna set you back around £40,000.
So we've got 40K versus 35K, and with the 35K you get a 7-year warranty, and like I said, 375 mile WLTP range. What's the warranty on the Volvo?
The warranty on the Volvo is 3 years or 60,000 miles. You can also get extended warranty options as well, but I mean, I can't argue with the Kia, can I?
You can see why it's the best-selling electric retail car in the UK, that's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Volvo has a lot to offer. I mean, Volvo are a heritage brand that come from safety, family vehicles. It's also luxurious, it's full of technology, so you're getting a brand, you're getting a car that has a lot of history behind it. So it is a great option, it's just you can't beat the pricing and the range with the Kia.
Yeah, look, I really hope this has been helpful. If we haven't covered anything, then you can ask us a question in the comments section and we'll try to answer it. It's a bit hot, isn't it?
It's really
so
hot.
Should we crack on with our day?
Yeah, let's go get in the aircon.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.